Hi, I'm Ben. Welcome to another episode of Canadian Built. Here we've got Ryan with a pretty quick Supra.
I think it's more than pretty quick.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan Samet. I drive the fastest and quickest Supra in Canada.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Nice to meet you too, Ben.
All right, tell us a little bit about this car. Just a quick overview. What makes this thing so special?
Yeah, so I think it snowballed into a quick drag car. I mean, I think the special thing about it is the power to weight ratio. The amount of power it makes is almost the same as the amount of weight.
Yeah. It's very rare you see a car that's taken to such extent, especially in Canada. What sort of times are you seeing or expecting quarter mile? As far as getting out of the hole, how does this actually dig and get out? Are you lifting the wheels or?
Yeah, well, I took it out in July, and actually that was the biggest problem we have. The car keeps wheeling. So I did adding a laser ride height sensor. We added some height limits. We also have a wheelie bar in the car now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't see that. So
yeah, so the wheelie bar should help prevent it from. It's got a history of going up.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's what we're trying to prevent now. Yeah, so this car was purchased about 10 years ago, and it was bone stock. It really snowballed into this build. I really didn't plan to do it this way, but it was a 10-second car, 9-second car, 7-second car. Yeah, that event about, I think, 4 years ago. It was the first import in the 7s, street legal. Yeah, and then once you hit 7s, you just want to go faster and faster. I think the cage is what really made it a dedicated drag car, because once you put a cage like that, it just, you don't want a street car. I still street drive it, but, you know, it's more of a drag car now. But yeah, it snowballed into this thing now.
So why a Supra? Have you always been a fan of the Supra, wanted one as a kid, or have you just seen other people going really fast in them? What made you start with this?
Well, the Mark IV Supra was actually the poster on my wall when I was a little kid. So nice. I always dreamt to have one, and finally had the opportunity to purchase one. I think it's a timeless body. Rear-wheel drive, straight six. I like the turbo noises that they make, so why not?
Yeah. Well, and as we can see too, the prices on the market for these cars, obviously not in quite this configuration, is going quite high. So I think a lot of people sharing that love for the car, and it's just amazing to see a car that still looks like a Supra, but then has all the performance as well.
Right. So the whole build is actually documented on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And Instagram. My YouTube channel is Ryan Samet Racing. It's literally the whole chassis step by step. And I also have Instagram, which is SAMMUTRZ, Samut RZ. There's like thousands of pictures there from when it was bone stock to today.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so yeah, let's do a little deep dive into this thing and see what it's got, see what bones it has here. I guess let's start off with the chassis. Tell us a little bit about the chassis.
So the chassis was built by the Chassis Stop in Mississauga. A great group of guys. Like I said, this started as a stock Supra. We actually cut the inner panels, and the chassis married the body. So it's a full tube chassis. They call it a 25-1K.
Okay.
It's certified to run 6.0s in the quarter. Yeah, it's very lightweight.
No, it looks great too. The quality is phenomenal. The welds are great. Yeah, it's a very good looking bones.
The major transformation is the stock car is an IRS car.
Okay.
So we removed the IRS, and now it's a solid axle 4-link.
Okay.
That really the biggest benefit of it.
The 9-inch rear?
Yeah, it's a 9.5-inch Strange Ultra case. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so this thing, it's got the bones to go fast. Let's see what parts it's got. I guess starting at the front here, you've got Plasma Man intercooler. What's that rated for?
Yeah, that's rated 3,000 horsepower. It's a billet 3,000 horsepower intercooler, water to air. There's an ice tank underneath it there, so you just put some ice and water, and that way it cools the charged air pretty quickly. Yeah.
And I see lots of vibrant lines. I see vibrant titanium. Tanks and whatnot. What do you have from Vibrant here?
Yeah, Vibrant always supported the build from day one. They helped me with the titanium for the dump tubes. Hoses and fittings are from Vibrant. There's a lot of stuff from Vibrant. I want to thank them for the support.
Yeah, great quality stuff, and Canadian too. So definitely check out Vibrant if you've never heard of them before. And
right.
We were talking earlier too, and you were saying one of the biggest costs of the car is actually the lines. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the fuel lines and the oil lines are made by XRP.
Okay.
Crimped hose, and the reason we do that is because of fuel pressure. The fuel pressure on this car at 80 pounds of boost can be 160, 170 pounds fuel pressure.
Oh, wow.
And you don't want one of those lines breaking apart when you have methanol running in the car.
Yeah, exactly. That's insane. That's insane. Tell us about the turbo. I see a big boy Precision here.
Yeah, I'm a Precision Turbo fanboy. I always ran them and I love them. That's a 102 XPR. It's probably one of the biggest sizes you can put on a 2JZ. Yeah, it's rated 2,500 horsepower.
2,500. Wow.
Yeah.
And what, don't give out exact numbers, but are you running around that or less than that?
Yeah, well, the car was on the dyno, on a hub dyno, and it made 2340 at about 61 pounds of boost. It's
just getting started.
Yeah, so yeah, we can probably push 80, 90 pounds of boost. I think it'll make 2,500 realistically, but
yeah, fair enough.
We don't want to do that on the dyno. We'll just do it at the track.
Yeah, yeah, tune it at the track. And I see everything's motor plated and everything, so definitely makes it a lot easier, I'm sure, to work on.
Oh yeah. There's a mid plate and a front plate. Everything's solid on the chassis. Yeah.
What turbo manifold are you using?
So that's a Powerhouse Racing turbo manifold.
Okay.
It's a 3-in-1 design. It's very light, V-band.
Mm-hmm.
It's got individual EGTs to measure the temperature coming out of the exhaust.
That's a big thing, especially when you get to this level. Everything that you can put a sensor on, put a sensor, because essentially if you cannot data log something, you can lose a really expensive motor or even worse, crash.
That's right. Yeah, it's got all sorts of trickery sensors. I mean, there's a block surface temperature sensor if the coolant temperature sensor doesn't work. All sorts.
Yeah,
all sorts.
Fair enough. And I see you're running CO2. What are you running for the CO2 system?
Yeah, so there's 2 bottles of CO2. There's one for the wastegates. So basically, you want to shut those wastegates down so you build more boost. The CO2 also controls the shifter, so it changes gear automatically. The ECU controls all that.
Oh, amazing.
And actually, the rear shocks also are controlled by CO2.
Oh, wow.
The ECU can send CO2 to the shocks. And it changes the rebound setting after you leave.
And who makes the suspension on this car?
The suspension was actually by PRS.
Okay.
It's a Penske 8760 shocks in the back. There's strange double adjustable in the front.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, and you can see, like any proper drag car, it actually has the suspension travel limiters on the front because that helps keep the front end down. And he was saying there's laser level on the front, and I believe you said the electronics on the rear as well, so that you can data log all your suspension travel.
Yeah, so there's a travel sensor in the back, so just you want to see how much it's squatting, if it's separating. And the front, you have a spindle mount front suspension. Yeah, the travel limiters. There's a laser ride height sensor. This car is actually prone to wheelie a lot. It's one of my biggest problems because it's very light in the front. So yeah, the laser ride height really helps.
Like I said, sensors for everything. And dry sump, I assume. Looks like you have a Peterson dry sump system.
Yeah, that was actually a Magnus Motorsports dry sump kit. Big thanks to Marco from Magnus. They make really amazing parts. It's a billet pan, it's a billet front cover, but it's a Peterson 5-stage dry sump system.
Very nice. And shout out to Magnus. OG DSM guys, but yeah, phenomenal guys over there. And tell us a little bit about the motor build. Billet block. Yeah,
so it's a Billet 2JZ from Bullet in Australia. It's got Ross pistons, GRP aluminum rods. It's got a Brian Crower 90mm crank, so that makes it a 3.2 liter.
Okay.
Because it's originally a 3.0.
Yep.
We raised a little bit the size of the engine just to help spool the turbo up a little quicker.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a Head Games Motorworks head.
Okay.
It's actually an original 2JZ brand new head that they port.
Oh, so not a billet head?
No, it's not a billet head.
Okay.
They don't really make they don't make a billet head yet.
Fair enough.
But the original head's pretty reliable. What we do is we weld the coolant ports shut, and then we feed water separate to the block and to the head. But yeah, it's a Head Games Motorworks race port. It's got bigger valves. It's got the whole 9 yards. Valve springs.
Oh, cool.
It's got the GSC billet cams. Yeah, that's about it on the block and the head.
So you heard that here. Stock head, modified, street car.
Yeah, so it's a rad purchased by JRP. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I like to keep it cooled. So yeah, like I said, there's a radiator, there's water in the head, water in the block. So basically after a pass, you can just press a button and the electric water pump, it runs and it cools the whole engine and trans without the engine running.
Phenomenal. Yeah. I guess next, tell us a little bit about the ignition system. What do you have here?
It's actually pretty simple. It's IGN 1.8 coils. It's got fire core wires. The ignition system is pretty simple.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then what do you have for intake manifold? And you were saying you have quite a few injectors here.
Yeah, so the intake manifold is a hyper-tuned drag style. The whole fuel system was sponsored by PRP, Platinum Racing Products in Australia. I love those guys. So it's a triple injector setup. So there's 3 injectors per cylinder.
Okay.
It's a fun fact. There's 7,900 cc of injector per hole.
Oh wow.
There's a Kinsler 1600 fuel pump. You got a Weldon fuel pressure regulator. Yeah, lots of fuel.
Yeah, and just for reference, you can't pour fuel fast enough for this thing. So that's quite impressive.
Yeah, so just a fun fact, this car uses about 3.5 gallons of methanol in a 1/8 mile pass.
That's insane.
A lot of fuel.
That's insane. And you were saying too that you actually have a setup, so it'll run on pump on the street, and then you basically just hit a button and it'll go to the methanol.
Yeah, so the car was tuned by Chris Delgado in Texas. It's got a Motec system.
Yep,
and yeah, basically you just set it up, you press a button. So you don't want to leave methanol sitting in the car,
right?
Basically, because of the lines and all that. So after I go home, I drain the methanol, put pump gas in it, I press the button, and it changes the tune to pump gas, and it just fires right up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, cleans all the injectors.
So again, street car. And it has a full, is it carbon fiber or fiberglass for the front end, for the shell?
Yeah, the front end is a one-piece front end. It's all carbon.
Okay.
It's very light. That's really where you benefit. You'd remove all those heavy rails.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a carbon fiber one-piece front end.
And A-pillar back, it looks to be all stock Supra still.
I don't know if you want to call it stock.
It's steel. It's steel.
Yeah, the roof and the quarters is actually the stock car. We ended up cutting all the inside out to make it really light.
Okay, fair enough.
The doors are carbon. The hatch is carbon. The rear wing is carbon. All the floors are carbon, even the tubs.
Oh, wow.
So anything where I could put a carbon piece, I put it, really.
Oh, wow. All right, and I see here some beautiful welds, but on some vibrant titanium. What do you have here?
Yeah, so like I said, everything I put on the car, I try to put the best, and titanium is basically the lightest material.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Vibrant was kind enough to help us with the titanium tubing, titanium V-bend clamps. Yeah, there's actually titanium hardware.
Oh, wow.
Wherever I can put a titanium bolt, I put it.
I guess we'll step back a little bit here. What transmission are you running?
Yeah, so it has a Rossler TH400. So it's a 3-speed. They removed the guts inside. Rossler, they put these billet hubs in it.
Okay.
It's got a trans brake. It's got 150 shot on nitrous that we didn't mention. Without it, actually, it doesn't spool up.
Oh, so you actually use it to spool?
Yeah, so once you go into trans brake, you have to give it a little nitrous to wake it up. It's got a Pro Torque billet converter.
Okay.
It's got drive shaft chop, carbon drive shaft. Yeah, an M&M CO2 shifter.
Amazing. What I see you have a Motec M150. What exactly are you running as far as that and dash and whatnot?
Yeah, so it has a Motec M150, again tuned by Chris Delgado from ProSpeed in Texas. It's got a Motec PDM power distribution module, so there's no relays, no fuses in this car.
Solid state.
Yeah, all solid state, everything controlled by the PDM. There's a Motec dash. Anything Motec that you can get for it, basically. They all communicate by CAN bus. There's a Motec keypad up there, so you can press a button and it can communicate to all the devices via CAN bus.
No, that's amazing, especially when you're at this level. Literally cheaping out on an ECU, spending a few $1,000s less is going to cost you a lot more than a few $1,000s when you lose a motor or something else happens. So it's just best of the best, and I'm sure you're seeing it here. So I see you've got a Kirky for race seat. What do you have for safety here?
Yeah, so it's got all the safety equipment that you are required to have. So basically there's the 5-point harness. You got the fire suppression system purchased from GRP. Thank you again. It's got nozzles all over the engine, all over the inside. You can just trigger it by this handle here. Yep. And then you have the Hans and all the safety equipment that's needed. Yep. Yeah, so the shifter actually is controlled by CO2.
Okay.
The ECU, the way it's tuned, it changes gear automatically.
Oh, cool.
I mean, this thing revs 11,000 RPM.
Oh, wow.
and it revs really quick. So I was always late, so I'm like, you know what, it's time to make it shift automatically.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, M&M shifter.
No, that's nice. And I see you've got a lightweight battery of some sort there?
Yeah, so it's a Go Lithium, one of these new lithium batteries. It's about 8 pounds, I believe.
Oh, beautiful.
16-volt battery, yep.
Yeah.
No alternator, so
and keeping the weight central, which is nice. And I see a big old nitrous tank there as well.
Yeah. So I need some nitrous to help spool, like we mentioned earlier. So just 150 shot. We don't really use it up top. It's just to spool up, and that's it.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I see the nice carbon tubs and everything you have in the back. What tire you're running, or what tire can you run?
Yeah, so right now it's a class legal 33-inch diameter by 10.5 wide, but it can run a 33 by probably 15, 16.
Oh wow!
If you want to run like a Pro Mod class or something where you're not limited to a tire size. Again, thanks to Chassis Stop and the brothers. The work on the carbon fiber and the tubs and the welds is just
it's phenomenal.
Breathtaking.
Yeah, phenomenal. And then what you don't see here, possibly see on the other side, was actually the carbon doors. And actually carbon hatch you mentioned as well with the wing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a little fun fact on the doors: the Supra didn't come with a frame. The window literally just rubs against here. So I asked TBT Carbon in the Dominican Republic. They made me a door where it has a carbon frame. That way, when you put Lexan windows, you don't have to put that little steel frame around it.
Yep.
Even this carbon wing, I think it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, the finish quality. And
the angles of it is just a little, it's just gorgeous. So big thank you to TBT Carbon.
Beautiful.
If you want anything carbon fiber for a Supra or for a lot of cars, they make really nice work.
No, that's beautiful. And then I guess while we're here, what are you running for wheels?
Yeah, so those are Weld Alumni Star. They're 16 diameter by 16-inch wide. Yeah, is just the widest rim you can fit in there, but the tire can actually be a lot bigger.
Fair enough. And you were saying earlier that it's got a 9.5-inch rear end. What are you running for a rear end and suspension?
Yeah, so the rear end is a 9.5 Strange Ultra case. It's a 458 rear ring and pinion gear. It's got Penske shocks, 4-link suspension. The 4-link really benefits the car because the IRS that it was before really makes the car squat. Like we use the 4-link to make the car separate, so that way it prevents wheelies.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the biggest benefit is the 4-link in the back.
Fair enough. And what are you running for a fuel cell and everything in the back?
There's no fuel cell in the back. The fuel tank is in the front.
Oh, okay.
It's a 5-gallon fuel tank. And really, all the weight that we moved around was thought after because the car was really back heavy. So now it's actually 50-50 side to side.
Oh, beautiful.
So, because I sit on the right side, then we put all the weight on the left front. Just to mitigate, to balance the weight properly.
No, fair enough. And yeah, if you didn't notice, this thing is actually right-hand drive. It's not very common you see too many Supras of this caliber in right-hand drive.
Yeah, I've never seen another one built right-hand drive at this caliber. I think it's pretty cool factor.
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up in a country in Europe where we drove in on the right side. I really did not want the left-hand drive. Like, we looked for a right-hand drive right away.
No, that's cool. Yeah, definitely something to point out the car. If it ever changes colors, anything like that, you see the right-hand drive, and you know it's probably one of, or this car possibly.
That's right.
But what are you running for a shoot and for, I guess, stopping power?
It's got strange brakes. It's got a single parachute. I know it should have 2 parachutes because it's been over 200 mile an hour. But we mostly run 8 mile.
Okay.
So it's just a single shoot.
All right, and back here, when we were looking around, we actually noticed something. It looks like a camera. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I got a Motec rear camera here, and the reason we use it is, after you do a burnout, you want to turn the camera on so you can back up. This car obviously has no mirrors, no center mirror, no side mirrors. So instead of having a bunch of people telling you where to go, you just turn the camera on and just back up.
Yeah, it's something that you would take from a regular daily driver and put into such a high performance application. It's honestly, I would have never thought of that. That's pretty cool. All right, yeah, you're telling us about this TBT Carbon door here. Let's see how light this thing is. It looks insane. Oh wow, that's insane. How much does it weigh?
It's about 8.5 pounds.
That's insane. Yeah, TBT Carbon, 8.5 pounds. If you want to go fast, hit up the Dominicans.
it's a carbon front body. Everything again was lightweight, so we got Lexan windows everywhere, front, side, back. These are actually stickers like you caught on there. The emblem is actually a sticker too. The intercooler is a sticker.
That's cool.
You wouldn't tell, right?
No, definitely not. And is the car wrapped then?
Yes. So it's actually a local guy. 6 wraps. Thank you very much to them.
Okay.
Beautiful wrap. They wrapped the car not too long ago. I wanted this red a little bit brighter than the original red. The red for the Supra is a little darker. So this is a bright red. I think it wakes it up.
Yeah, it looks great. What was the original color of the car?
Yeah, it's red. It's
it
red,
was red.
but
Okay.
it's a darker shade.
Okay.
This is more like a Ferrari red, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 wraps. Did a great job.
Looks beautiful, and all the carbon, the carbon chin spoiler, the carbon frame around the doors, and seeing the carbon through the windows, it's amazing. It's it's a very well put together car, and personally, I like the cars that don't shout that they have the performance that they do. This, if you kind of had a quick glance, you would definitely not think that it has quite this, but you may get the odd, is that a Supra? But all right. Thanks everyone for checking out the latest episode of Canadian Built. I don't think we could have ended this one any better. Basically, it's a phenomenal car, phenomenal quality, great company with Ryan here, and yeah, if you want to check out his YouTube channel, check out the link up here. Make sure to smash the subscribe and like button. And yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, or if you have any ideas, make sure to comment down below. And yeah, come back for more.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you, Ryan.
Thank you.